Hello, New Manchester here. Welcome to another video. And I'm going to be doing a video that's quote unquote Winston Wu related. So basically, this video is about Winston Wu and his Happier Abroad site and YouTube channel. Well, the online site is happierabroad.com. That's right, I'm going to be doing a video about the founder of Happier Abroad, Winston Wu. Okay, Winston Wu created Happier Abroad, happierabroad.com, and the Happier Abroad YouTube channel to help people by keeping them from going on mass shootings and going around and shooting and killing innocent people and turn a gun on themselves and shoot and kill themselves through suicide, or worse, get shot and killed by police. And he wants to save these people and tell these people they can leave the United States and travel abroad and live in a saner, happier, friendlier country that's good for their mental health and give them a good dating life, social life, and all around love life. Yeah, that's right. Winston Wu wants to use Happier Abroad to help these people move overseas so they can have a better dating life, social life, mental health, and good self-esteem. He wants these people to have this. And you got you got sites like YouTube, and you got the mainstream media, not the mainstream media. You got the mainstream Americans and the alternative people of the alternative movement and the conspiracy theorists. You know, I mean, these people don't have the message that Winston Wu has, because Winston Wu wants people who are suffering, who are feeling miserable here in the U.S., and he wants them to go abroad and live a better life than how they're living here in the U.S. And he says that, the U.S. is not a friendly place, it's not a very sociable place. Everybody is in cliques, everybody is in a bubble. Nobody doesn't want to talk to each other, nobody doesn't want to have anything to do with one another. They want to be left alone. They want isolation, they want privacy. They just, you got some people out in America, in some parts of America. You got Americans who hate people, and people who are low key and don't want to socialize with anybody. But if you go and try to socialize with, well, I say like low key people, they will ignore you and get up and walk away, or run away from you, or they just won't say anything they won't say anything to you at all. Or if you ask them for something, or I don't know, talk to them about something, they'll just look at you and point to something and don't say anything. Winston Wu's Happier Abroad is a great tool to help people get out of America if they're suffering from loneliness and being isolated, and they don't have a very good sociable life, and they have a loveless life, and they're alone, and they're sad, and they're angry, and their anger is driven by being mistreated by people. People ask them a question, like for instance, like people who ask you a question, and you answer their question, and they won't let you. They just cut you dead in a sentence, and won't let you answer their question. And you're trying to answer their question, and they won't let you. And like, what I'm trying to say is, okay, if someone asks you a question and you answer their question, they won't let you, and they just stop you from talking, won't let you, and won't listen to your answer. Like, I look at that like it doesn't make any sense. It's crazy. And and that's one of the crazy things that happen here in the U.S. Yeah, it happened to me, at a corporate store with my mom. That happens. Like it's just crazy. And in the past, Winston Wu made a video on his YouTube channel complaining about the moderators at YouTube pull some of his videos down because they feel that his videos are really bad. And from Winston Wu's standpoint, and I agree with him on this, the stuff that Winston Wu talks about on happyerabroad.com and also on his YouTube channel, Happier Abroad, is basically considered, taboo and not right, and it's very offensive. And he talks about his messages on his videos on his YouTube channel. Yeah, the messages on his videos on his YouTube channel are deemed offensive and taboo. And I've been watching some of his videos on his YouTube channel, and there's nothing offensive and taboo about anything that he says. It's basically the truth, and he's talking about basically the things that I feel and that I go through in my life, and things that people who agree with him, like things that when he talks about things that they go through in their lives and the things that they feel. But he's on his on the videos on his YouTube channel, also on his happyerabroad.com forum. He's basically telling the truth. He's saying that the United States of America is a very bitter, mean-spirited, unfriendly, unhappy place. Because it's because in the United States it's all about being serious and being a stiff, lifeless robot and not being human and hating people and don't want to have anything to do with people and just talk to people in your family and talk to your spouse and and be around people and people being in cliques. And speaking of cliques, yeah, you got regular people who are in America who are in cliques, but also you got police officers and and firefighters. I don't know. I'm gonna say police officers. You got police officers, law enforcement officers. In the law enforcement community, law enforcement officers are in cliques. You got cliquish cops. And speaking of cliques, okay, what do cliques mean? Well, if you know, then you know. But if some of you don't know, I'll just say it. A clique is where it's where it's just it's a group of people who have the same interests and they like the same things and they know each other and they do the same thing and they block out people from joining them, from joining their cliques. And in America, you just can't just go out and meet people, and meet people and form friendships. It doesn't work that way here in the US. It doesn't work that way here in the US because in the US, I mean, you have to go and find your own clique. And you just can't just establish a friendship as an adult. You got to do that all the way back when you're a child, not a child, but when you were like, I say, late elementary school, primary school, junior high, high school, uh, college. Yeah, you got to form friendships in those places. Because after high school and college, after you graduate from high school and college, you're in the bubble. You're isolated from everybody. All you do is get a job, work, and consume, pay bills, follow the rules, you know, serve jury duty. That's it. That's all you do. There's no fun. You can't have fun. You can't joke around with people. Everybody's so serious and uptight and all business and angry and bitter. Yeah, and it's kind of sad. Like, you can't go and flirt with women. You can't go and talk to a woman, and get to know her and want to, like, get her, ask for, get to know her. After you get to know her, you ask for her number, and you want to go on a date. She said, "Well, you can go on a date with me. Pick me up at my home at 7 p.m. tomorrow night. I'll see you then. I live on something street." Yeah, that doesn't work. Like, if you go and try to do that, like try to get to know a woman, a girl or a woman, she'll find you creepy, weird, and strange, and you're violating her rights, and she'll go and call the police on you, or find the nearest policeman and get you for, like, sexual harassment or any crime. Like, it's crazy. And what's really crazy is, you go to a neighborhood, it's a nice sunny day, you don't see adults sit at tables and talk to one another on a porch in front of their house, and you don't see children playing in the streets, and you don't see adults, like, walking up and down the street, talking to one another. Yeah, you got the people sitting on their porches, like, drinking lemonade and talking to one another. Like, you don't see that. Like, it's like you go to a typical American neighborhood anywhere in the U.S. and Canada, you don't see anybody. You don't see nobody. It's just completely dead. Like, you don't hear nothing. All you hear is crickets chirping, a tumbleweed rolling by on the street. And that's it. You don't see nothing. You don't see nobody. Like, you walk through a neighborhood like you're just the only one there. It's like that at apartment complexes in big cities and all over the U.S. And I find that to be really crazy. It's nuts, and it is. Winston Wu created Happier Abroad so lonely people who are alienated, don't have to put up with all of that. They can move to a better country. They can change their location under his advice and just go abroad and live in a saner, normal, better country. It's funny. You got these hardcore patriotic Americans who talk about freedom and full freedom. If you live in the United States, you live in a country with so much freedom. You're free. You can do whatever you want. But, but what is this freedom that they're talking about? They're basically talking about political freedom. The freedom to bash a president and bash the government, while being arrested. That's the freedom that they're talking about. Are they talking about this type of freedom, which is real freedom? Yeah, the freedom to get up every morning and do whatever you want without any obstacles and people standing in your way, and social freedoms, the freedom to talk to anybody that you want, while someone, like, giving you dirty looks and pushing you away and don't want to, like, don't want to talk to you, don't want to have anything to do with you. Yeah, the freedom to socialize with people and form friendships. That's good for your mental health, your social life, and your self-esteem. Make you feel good about yourself, because that's human nature. Because we as human beings, we're meant to socialize with one another. Yeah, we have voices. We have a voice box. We use that voice box to communicate with each other. And yeah, socializing with people, getting to know someone, forming friendships, um, you meet a woman as a man, I mean, you end up, the woman or girl ends up as your girlfriend, and ultimately she ends up as your wife, and you start a family with her, and and that's how a man and a woman meet each other. Like you know they they talk to one another, they get to know one another. They go on dates. And yeah, that's how people meet each other. But what I just can't understand is how in this day and age of antisocialness and cliquishness, and people saying, "Ooh, leave me alone. I don't want to talk to you. Get the hell away from me. You mind your own business. I mind my own business. And I hate people. I don't want anything to do with people. And I just want to just be alone. I just want to talk to people in my own family and talk to people that I know. And I don't talk to strangers. And I think everybody is dangerous." Like, how do people meet each other in an environment like that happens here in the U.S. and Canada? How? I don't get it. I just don't understand that. Winston Wu and Happier Abroad can save anybody from all of that. And Winston Wu's Happier Abroad helps people. Like, for instance, you got Nicholas Cruz, George Soudini, and Elliot Rogers, and people like them who are mass shooters, who are angry and alone because they can't find a woman, they can't get a girlfriend, because they're angry at the world, and they're lonely. If these people discovered Happier Abroad and take a look at Winston Wu's forum on happyabroad.com, and also check out the videos on this Happier Abroad YouTube channel. I mean, those people will go abroad, and live a better life, and those people that they shot up and killed will be still alive. And that's a fact. And also, Happier Abroad will help out a guy named Doc Garcia from the YouTube channel DocG07, which is formerly Damn This Place '07. If Doc Garcia took a look at Winston Wu's Happier Abroad YouTube channel and read his forum, Doc G will go overseas and live a better life, and he wouldn't be the crazy, torn down, guy who completely lost his mind. He would be making like trashy videos of him bashing an overweight Haitian woman at a Walmart. He wouldn't be doing that if he wouldn't be making videos like that on his YouTube channel. He'd be making meaningful videos of himself in this country that he liked, he went to in the past with his friend Cliff, called Spain. He has a friend called Cliff. He committed suicide because his wife, because his wife would let him see his daughter, and he went and committed suicide. Well, also, if Dog G's friend Cliff discovered Winston Wu, he wouldn't kill himself. He would live a better life overseas. Sandra Bland, Sandra Bland, the woman who moved to Texas from Illinois to start a life at Prairie View A&M, some type of school there. Um, yeah, and she died in a prison cell after being arrested by a highway patrolman, a Texas state trooper by the name of Brian Insignia, who pulled her over who pulled her over for signaling, and she just simply just moved out of his way because she thought that, well, she thought, well, he was like telling her, and he was on his and she think that he was on his way to a call, an emergency, a motor vehicle accident, or whatnot, something bad. He had to rush to the scene, and she got out of his way, and he just pulled her over and just got her on some ridiculous charge of but what I'm trying to say, he yanked her out of her car after she refused to put out her cigarette, and she had all the right to smoke a cigarette in her car. He pulled her out of her car, slammed her on the ground, and threatened to light her up with his taser. You know, um, and that terror, and she went through all that. She went through all of that crap, and she ended up. She was arrested and taken to prison, and she died in a jail cell. But if she discovered Winston Wu's Happier Abroad YouTube channel and the happierabroad.com forum, she would move overseas and live a better life. She will live in another country. People say that Sandra Bland moved to Texas from Illinois to start a better life. But if you ask me, and I live in Texas, Texas is not a place to start a new life. It's not. It's not a great place to live, and I'm not going to get into that. And in the United States, in general, is not a good place to live and start a new life. If you're someone who suffering in some other country, you think the U.S. is it, then you're wrong. And Sandra Bland is one of those people who started this thing. I think she has some YouTube channel called Sandy Speaks, when she addresses black people being pulled over and mistreated by police officers due to the fact that they're black. And racial issues, that's just useless because stuff like that's not going to change. Black people are going to be discriminated and treated badly here in the U.S. because the United States is a socially racist country, and it is. And you got African Americans like Denzel Washington and Karl Malone. These two guys, they it's like they just don't care what black people go through in this country, and then they bring up stuff like a black girl was shot by a black man or something like that. And I look at African Americans like Denzel Washington and Karl Malone to be completely useless. These guys are just garbage. They're trash. And I'm not gonna bash all African Americans here in the U.S. because let's look at it this way. Black people dealt with racism here in the U.S. For all their lives. Because the United States is a very, very racist country. And that's why you got African Americans here in the U.S. They develop an inferiority complex because they dealt with so much racism. They're angry, they're bitter, they're on edge. they can be easily be offended because they dealt with so much racism, and some of them walk around with a chip on their shoulder, and a black woman at this gas station, put me down by telling me, "What are you looking at with your black ass?" Because she got into it with a convenience store clerk over the fact that the convenience store clerk wouldn't let her like buy cigarettes and won't and unless she pulls out some ID and confirm her age. And she was an older woman, like she was in her 50s. In the black woman told her, "Hey, I'm in my 50s. Like, I just want. I mean, I need to. Yeah, I need to buy some cigarettes." And the convenience store clerk, wanted her to wear a mask and show ID. You know, and the black woman who was like, was putting up with the treatment that she was receiving from the convenience store clerk. The black woman turns around and gaslights the convenience store clerk, gaslight her over something, and the convenience store clerk denies it. Said, "Well, I wasn't doing it." So basically, the black woman was lying on the woman. You know, yeah, you just got bitter, angry black people who treat other people like crap, and they treat their own people like crap. I've been around black people like that, and and it's not their fault that they're the way they are, because they live in a very, very racist country that's racist towards them. And that's why people like Doc Garcia of Doc G07 and other black people in America. That's why some of them, I say all, that's why a lot of them are just bitter and just angry, and they walk around with chips on their shoulders because they live in a socially racist country that treats them like dirt. And some of them go around treating their own children like dirt, and their children grow up and they just act like them, and it's kind of sad. And you look at like black people in the United Kingdom. They're nothing like the African Americans in the United States, because the UK or England is less racist towards them. They're calm, they're hold, they're with one with themselves. They're happy. They got hobbies. They talk about what they like to do. My favorite book is the diary of a wimpy kid, or something like that. Anything that they like, they talk about it. And yeah, and they're happy. If you socialize with them, you know they, they're happy. They're calm. You can talk to them about anything. Something that you can't do with African Americans here in the U.S. You know, Black Brits in the United Kingdom are just they're just a whole entire ball. They're just a different ball game compared to African Americans here in the United States. And also you got you got Black Africans who are like the Black Brits in the UK, and you got Jamaicans who are black, who are like the black people in Africa, and also black people in the UK. When it comes to racism here in the United States, like there's just nothing you can do. Like you can't make racist people see everybody as the same. You can't change other people. You know, People gonna be the way they are. You can't change them. The only person you can change is yourself. And we're speaking of changing yourself. In America, they want you to change yourself. They want you to change your thoughts. and and go and and under Winston Wu, if people discover him and his YouTube channel on YouTube and his forum, they can change their location and move abroad and leave the US and never come back and just live in a better country, live in a better environment and be around better people in a better social atmosphere. And because, things are so much better overseas than here in the US. Things are way better abroad than here in America. Better health care, universal health care, better food, better quality of life. Everything costs less. Everything isn't expensive. The women are sweet, feminine, down to earth, approachable, and easy to talk to. The young people are sociable, friendly, and down to earth. You will feel good about yourself in an environment. You have better self esteem, better mental health. You won't be angry and bitter, and you won't be a hot headed person with a temper, and you won't go crazy because of a crazy, dysfunctional, loop sided, upside down society like the United States. Also, if you live abroad, there's no need for you to like huddle yourself into a clique, and also you have the freedom to be yourself. You have the freedom to be the real you. You have social freedoms and you have the freedom to be yourself, something that you won't get here in the United States because in this toxic fake society here in the US, you have to pretend to be something that you're not. And you can't be the real you here. It's like it's a punishment. Like you can't be the real you. You got to be something else. You got to like huff and puff, and you got to see a lot of BS stuff. You got to talk a lot of crap, and run your mouth and brag, and develop weird personalities. Yeah, and Winston Wu said this: if you're suffering in America, if you're angry, you're bitter, and you can't succeed in life, you can't do the things that you want to do, you can't say what you want to say. America is the problem, not you. You don't have to blame yourself for your problems because it's not your fault. It's society's fault. It's not your fault. And I think blaming yourself for everything, American society programs people to blame themselves for everything. Blame themselves for everything, and it's just insane. Like like it's crazy to blame yourself for everything because this is reality. Sometimes it will be your fault, or it might be. I won't say this. It will be your fault, or it might be your fault or the other person's fault, or it will be ultimately that person's fault and not your fault. But here in the U.S., it's like you gotta blame yourself for everything. Blame yourself for your problems. Like you did this, blame yourself, and you had all the choices, you had all the chances in the world, and you blew it. It's insane. It's crazy. Like where did they get this thinking from? Like it's insane to think like that. I hate to say it, but the United States it's a crazy country. It's just it's a madhouse. There's this movie called a Mad, Mad, Mad World. Well, the United States is a mad, mad, mad world because it's just absolutely dead set bonkers. A country that turns um, people with a speech impediment or a disability or they're nerds. A country just turns them into monsters. and make them go on mass shootings and school shootings. I mean, they give these gun nuts. I mean, this country gives these gun nuts guns like candy. I mean, they just give them guns like candy. I mean, no medical care. Medical care is they don't give the United States doesn't give its citizens universal health care. And you got these narrow-minded religious people. Oh my God! Like, and they go around and pretend like they're good people and they believe in God and they say that the Bible's bigger than God and they say stuff like this to a person with a disability. Oh, there's a special place in heaven for people like you, and your videos just doesn't do you any justice. Keep trying though. God bless you. You know, and they do, and they're so evil and screwed up in the head, and they're very narrow-minded, and they are thinking that the Bible is bigger than God is just ridiculous, and they just have this obsession with religion and going to church. And believe it or not, you got cliquish people in churches. Like, there's some people that you can't talk to in church. Like, you can just go to the same church every Sunday and you will never meet anybody, and people won't, and you'll never know their name, and they won't know your name. And it's just it's insane. And and what's the point of going to church? And then you got like you got in America, a church is based on race. You got churches for white people and you got churches for black people. And why black people and white people are going to separate churches here in the U.S. Why they just go to the same church together? Like, it's based on racism, you know. And there's no such thing as a white God and a black God and a white heaven. Like, and I don't want to get into that, but I just think it's crazy that that white people and black people and people of other races are going to separate churches. It's just crazy to me. Yeah, just like in American society, you just can't go out and meet people and talk to people and form friendships at churches. You just can't do that because it doesn't work. You know, and they say that church, I guess, church is the only place that an adult can go and socialize with people. And it's the opposite. You won't be able to socialize with people. You can socialize with some people, but not with everybody. Thanks to Winston Wu. I mean, thanks to him and his YouTube channel and his forum. I just see the United States for what it is. And I also see that life is better overseas. You know, all countries aren't great, aren't perfect. There's some countries that are sociable and friendly and down to earth, and there's some countries that are not like that. You know, there's some good countries out there, and there's some bad countries out there. Yeah, there's good countries and bad countries outside of the U.S. I ain't gonna say that all countries are great, are perfect. All countries aren't for everybody. And I found that out. When I went to Italy and got exposed to Italians and how they are. Yeah. So Winston Wu is not a con artist, and he speaks the truth. And even though everybody views what he's saying as taboo and not right, you know, I don't think like that. I just look at his content on his YouTube channel and his happierabroad.com forum, and I just view it as the truth. And he said it best. People in the mainstream Americans and people in the alternative movement and people in the conspiracy movement and religious people, they just view what he says as, as something that's not right and it's taboo, and they suppress it, and then they ignore it like it doesn't matter, like it's nothing, and these critics will just talk about something that's not about what he talks about. Focus on like how the person talks. Who cares how the person talks? All I care about is the message. Some religious nut job want to say that the things that I say on my videos is boring. Well, what they believe in and what they talk about is boring, and they're boring themselves. They're boring people, and they're part of a boring country that's even more boring than them. So Winston Wu's Happier Abroad is the cure for lonely people who are suffering in America. That's what Happier Abroad is. Happier Abroad saves people and stop people from becoming mass shooters and killing innocent people and killing themselves and killing themselves and getting shot and killed by police. Happier Abroad prevents all of that. And that's why Winston Wu created that YouTube channel. And also he created it because he went overseas as a young man and saw how things were in Russia. He met a lot of beautiful, gorgeous women in Russia. He went to a theme park with one of them. He had a good time with these women. These women were fun. They liked to have fun. He hung around with young people and just talking about all kinds of stuff. And it's crazy, and you can't do that with the women and young people here in the U.S. or in Canada. Because the U.S. and Canada are just ice cold and antisocial, unfriendly countries. And North America, well, which is the U.S. and Canada, they suck. So I'd like to thank Winston Wu for letting me see the light on how the United States is and showing me that the problem isn't me. The problem is the crazy people and the crazy society here in the United States. And, I hope Winston Wu's watching this. Winston, wherever you are, I'd like to thank you again, And I know that you sent a comment on one of my videos on this YouTube channel asking me what happened to my channel. I want to know what you meant by that. I mean, feel free to leave a comment on this video if you're watching after you get done watching it. And I understand that you're busy and you don't have time to comment on YouTube videos and watch YouTube videos and comment on them. I understand that, but if you have the chance, if you get the chance to watch this video, just leave me a comment. But overall, thanks again, man. I know you're old. Hey, I mean, you changed your life by going overseas, and you want people to experience what you experience. And that's a good thing. And I hope your YouTube channel and your forum prevent mass shootings and and keep people from morphing into mass shooters and committing suicide, and save them from a sick, twisted, screwed up in the head, backwards society like the United States of America. Okay, I think that's enough. I went over. This video is very long. So, yeah, I get brain farts when I talk. So, yeah, anyway, thank you for listening. I hope you guys have a great day, night, or morning, wherever you are in the world watching this video. Also, thank you for watching this video or listening to this video. Alright, that's all I gotta say. Thank you for watching. This is New Manchester, by the way. Thank you.